Hi, I am Osama Said from Cairo, Egypt. I am a guitar player, music producer. This lesson is for week 1 of Introduction to Music Production at Coursera.org. In this presentation, I will talk about microphone types. We can categorize the famous types of microphones depending on two factors: its transducer and its polar pattern. A transducer in general is a device that converts a signal in one form of energy to another form of energy. Microphone transducer is the part of microphone that converts sound into an electronic signal that goes through microphone cable to the recording device or to an amplifier. The polar pattern, or the second issue, the second factor, which will be in differentiation between mic types. The polar pattern is the microphone directionality. It indicates how sensitive it is to sounds arriving at different angles. By other words, from which angle did the microphone receive the voice, or from which angle the microphone is more sensitive to the voice comparing to the other microphone angles. In this presentation, I will talk about the transducer aspect to differentiate between the famous types of microphone. So depending on the transducer, its component, how the transducer work, the most famous types of microphone are dynamic microphone, condenser microphones, and ribbon microphones. So let us see how the transducer of the dynamic microphone work. Sound waves moving through the air travel to the mic and hit the diaphragm. The diaphragm is moved in and out by the air pressure of the sound wave. A coil of a wire is wrapped around the permanent magnet. The coil of a wire is attached to the diaphragm and is moved backwards and forwards around the magnet by being pushed by the diaphragm. This movement creates an electrical signal that has voltage that varies in a way that matches the pressure level of the sound wave that caused it. The end of the wire coil transmits the signal through the microphone cable to the audio interface or to the amplifier. The most famous examples on dynamic microphones is the Shure SM58 and the Shure SM57. The advantages of the dynamic microphones are they are robust and durable, they are relatively inexpensive, and they are not sensitive to changes in humidity like heat or moisture. They do not need external or internal power to operate. But the disadvantages is that the dynamic microphones are heavily weight. They usually have a resonant peak in the mid-frequency response, and they can be weak in the high-frequency response above 10 kHz. The most widely applications that use the dynamic microphones is live performance, voiceover and broadcast, sound reinforcement, snare drum miking, guitar miking. The second type of microphone depends on differentiation in the transducer is the condenser microphone. So how the condenser microphone work? Sound waves are transmitted through the air by varying air pressure. The sound wave hits the front plate or the diaphragm, which moves back and forth based on the varying air pressure. The battery inside the microphone or The power supplied from the preamp powers the capacitor, and this creates a voltage between plates. The movement of the diaphragm varies this voltage based on the varying air pressure. This voltage is the audio signal that is then transmitted to the audio interface. The most famous examples on condenser microphones are Neumann U87, AKG C400. There are some advantages and disadvantages of the condenser microphones. The advantages is that they have extended low and high frequency response. They are good ones, or the good ones are somewhat expensive. They require power, or the preamp or the phantom power, to operate. The disadvantages is humidity and temperature affect performance, is sensitive to humidity and temperature affect performance. The low-cost models can suffer from poor or inconsistent frequency response. The most widely applications that use condenser microphones is studio recording, vocals, cymbals, drum overhead, piano, acoustic guitar. Let's move to the third type of microphone depending on the transducer, which is the ribbon microphones. How the ribbon microphone work? Sound waves hit the metal element, the thin metal strip, you can see it in the figure, which then oscillates between the two magnetic poles around it. The magnetic poles around the diaphragm generate a varying voltage in it that varies according to the oscillations. This signal is then transmitted to the audio interface. The most famous examples on ribbon microphones are AEA R84 and Royer R121 Studio. There are also advantages and disadvantages of the ribbon microphones. The advantages is they have a relatively flatter frequency response. They have better frequency response compared to dynamic microphones. They do not need power to operate. The disadvantages, they are somewhat fragile and require care during handling and operation. They moderately expensive. The applications that most used this type of microphones is miking cymbals, miking bass, miking piano, miking electric and acoustic guitars, miking brass instrument. Thank you for watching. I hope the presentation was clear enough. I'm sorry if my language is not clear enough, because English is not my native language. Hope everyone benefit from the course at coursera.org, which is provided by Berkeley College. Thank you again. Bye.